Today, we will embark on a fascinating journey through the life of one of the most intriguing figures in biblical history, King Solomon. But before we dive into his story, let me ask you, have you ever wondered how someone so blessed by God could meet such a tragic end? How could the wisest man who ever lived make such grave mistakes? And why did God allow this to happen? These questions have puzzled theologians, scholars, and believers for millennia. Solomon's story is an enigma that challenges our understanding of wisdom, temptation, and the consequences of our choices. Let's unravel this mystery together. Solomon, the son of King David, ascended to the throne of Israel under extraordinary circumstances. Still young, he had a supernatural encounter with God, who made him an incredible offer. "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." 1 Kings 3 verse 5. Faced with this unique opportunity, Solomon didn't ask for riches, long life, or the destruction of his enemies. Instead, he requested, "Give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong." 1 Kings 3 verse 9. This choice pleased God so much that he not only granted Solomon unprecedented wisdom, but also added riches and honor beyond comparison. Solomon's reign marked the height of Israel's glory. He built the magnificent Temple of Jerusalem, expanded the kingdom's borders, and established alliances with powerful nations. His fame spread throughout the land, attracting visitors from distant places, such as the Queen of Sheba, who came to test his wisdom with difficult questions. 1 Kings 10 verses 1 to 13. Solomon wrote thousands of proverbs and songs, demonstrating a deep knowledge of human nature and the world around him. The books of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs are attributed to him, revealing the depth of his understanding of life, love, and the search for meaning. But here's the turning point in the story. How could someone so blessed, so wise, and so favored by God meet such a tragic end? What happened to lead the great King Solomon astray from the path of righteousness? The Bible gives us some clues about Solomon's downfall. In 1 Kings 11 verses 1 to 3, we read, "King Solomon loved many foreign women. He had 700 wives of royal birth and 300 concubines, and his wives led him astray." This verse reveals one of Solomon's major weaknesses, his inability to control his carnal desires. But it wasn't just the number of women that caused Solomon's downfall. The problem was that many of them were from foreign nations, worshippers of pagan gods. God had explicitly forbidden such marriages, warning that they would lead his people away from him. Yet Solomon ignored this divine warning. As he grew older, Solomon began to be influenced by his foreign wives. He not only tolerated the worship of other gods, but even went so far as to build altars for these idols. The man who had built the temple for the true God was now erecting shrines for false gods. How could this have happened? Perhaps the answer lies in the very nature of human wisdom. Solomon, in all his wisdom, may have become arrogant, believing he could control the situation. He may have thought that his superior intellect would protect him from negative influences. But history shows us that no one, not even the wisest man in the world, is immune to temptation and poor judgment. The book of Ecclesiastes, attributed to Solomon, gives us insight into the king's state of mind in his later years. He describes life as meaningless, and seeks purpose in pleasures, accomplishments, and wisdom, only to conclude that everything is a chasing after the wind. Could these words reflect the late regret of a man who realized he had squandered God's gifts? Solomon's fall had devastating consequences not just for him, but for the entire kingdom of Israel. God declared that because of Solomon's disobedience, the kingdom would be divided after his death. 1 Kings 11 verses 11 to 13. And that's exactly what happened. The United Kingdom of Israel, which had reached its zenith under Solomon, fractured into two, Israel in the north and Judah in the south. The sad end of Solomon leaves us with many lessons and reflections. First, it reminds us that no one is beyond the reach of temptation. Even the wisest, most blessed individual can fall if they do not remain vigilant and obedient to God. Second, Solomon's story illustrates the danger of gradual compromises. His fall was not sudden but a slow and steady decline. It began with small concessions that, over time, turned into major transgressions. This warns us to be mindful of the small areas of disobedience in our own lives. Third, we see the danger of relying too much on our own wisdom. Solomon may have believed that his intelligence would protect him, but he learned the hard way that true wisdom lies in trusting and obeying God, not in relying on our own abilities. Fourth, Solomon's story reminds us of the importance of finishing well. No matter how well we start, it's crucial to maintain our faith and integrity to the end. Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 10 verse 12, "So, if you think you are standing firm, be careful that you don't fall." These words seem to echo the lesson of Solomon's life. Finally, Solomon's story shows us the incredible patience and mercy of God. Despite Solomon's disobedience, God did not completely abandon him. He kept his promise to David, allowing Solomon's son to continue ruling over Judah. This reminds us that no matter how far we stray, God is always ready to welcome us back when we repent. Solomon's end is truly sad, but his story does not end in total despair. Through it, we see both the dangers of sin and the possibility of redemption. It challenges us to examine our own lives, recognize our weaknesses, and trust not in our own wisdom, but in God's grace and guidance. Dear viewers, Solomon's story leaves us with many questions to ponder. How can we maintain our integrity in a world full of temptations? How can we wisely use the gifts God has given us? How can we avoid Solomon's mistakes in our own lives? I hope this journey through Solomon's life has been as fascinating and thought-provoking for you as it has been for me. If you enjoyed this video and want more content like this, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Don't forget to leave a comment sharing your thoughts on this incredible story. What impressed you most about Solomon's life? What lessons did you take away from this narrative? Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.